Pax vobiscum. Welcome back to the channel, and to another episode of The Vestal Virgin Plays. So today we're picking up where we left off last time, where we were walking along and we found ourselves looking at an old ship, and we had many discoveries last time. We discovered that Margot, the woman who's been leaving behind the cassette tapes we've been finding, she was here before, and the boy or the voice she was talking about that she was talking to was actually Josh, so that was revealed. And then we found this old ship, and we discovered that a man named Scruff, who was in World War One, ended up becoming, I believe, a ferry captain, and would take the young men of the island off to the mainland for their military training, with some mixed results as to the opinions of those on the island. But the biggest discovery was that Josh apparently had been talking to Margot, and Margot thought of him as an evil spirit, and they were not very friendly with one another. So let's continue on and see what other mysteries we can unravel today.
Josh, it's happening again.
Oh dear. Oh no. Oh goodness. Whew, alright. Are we having visions? Is Rylie psychic or something?
You never send them.
They're meant to live here with me, not go out into the world.
Letters are meant to be read.
Maybe, my boy. And then again, maybe letters are just meant to be written. Huh?
I don't understand.
My girls, they're happier without me. No. They have lives, loves. I'm a sad old man who's seen more death than I care to share. And these hands, I killed with them. Can't wash that war away, no matter how many years at sea.
But those hands, they've also healed.
Healing doesn't make up for the taking of a life. There's no return from that.
Why write it all then?
I love my daughters. Think about them all the time. And I suppose I want to remind them and myself of all the good parts. Yeah, there's no sense to it. But it works for me. They have a new family now, and I have you, no? Lord knows you need someone to take care of you. Let's go find a spot for this one, my boy.
What about three sisters?
3 sisters. Yes, that works beautifully.
Scruff. That was Scruff.
Oh goodness.
Exactly like I remember him.
I didn't see you. You weren't there.
I was already dead.
You were in his head too.
Oh goodness. So Josh wasn't even alive at the point in time that Scruff was writing his letters, and we've been finding his letters around the island, so who is Josh? Who is Josh, and where did he come from? Oh, I'm so curious. So Scruff ended up abandoning his family, and that's why Margot seems so angry that he just abandoned them, but he said that they were happier without him for some reason. I wonder why he thought so much. another sketch. Interesting. Seems there's another letter here.
26th of September 1939. My sweets, as you've probably heard, war has struck again. We humans never seem to learn from our mistakes. During the First War, I was a medic, and my mission was to save the boys. But there were so many I couldn't help. Sometimes I had to make a choice over who should live and who should die. I essentially killed one to save another. The smell of death, the bodies, the blood, the screams of agony. They never let you go. I wish I could imprint all that upon these young boys who are enlisting. Their lives are never going to be the same. I cannot make them see. Instead, they're filled with excitement for the adventures they believe are ahead. I know no way to help, so I take them. My boat and I deliver them to the front line. My friend Carrie told me the myth of Charon, the ferryman to the river Styx. I feel like I too am delivering these boys to the underworld. All I can offer is a safe passage, but I cannot save them. In these dark days, I don't know if I can save Josh either. My head is a swirl, and I'm no closer to having an answer. That boy is my heart, and I have to help him. I'm so sorry to have written such a grim letter. I only make it through these times knowing you are in the world, your loving father.
Ready or not, he could have ended this.
He didn't have a choice.
No, he didn't. He should have faced his kids, shared his sorrow.
Yes, it is very odd that instead of going to his daughters and embracing them, that he ended up writing them all of these letters instead. Why not go back? Why not go see his family, who he apparently loved so much? I'm very confused.
Do you know who this is?
Archibald O'Sullivan. We called him Archie. A gardener. At the lodge, I think.
Why did he think that place was so important? What happened there?
You know, I'm starting to wonder if his daughters are actually... if his daughters or if his family is actually deceased.
Do you see that date?
June 18th?
I'm sure I've seen it before.
Mr. Callum Compton, 35, dies. Big Rogue Island, June 18. Residents of Rogue Island mourn the passing of Mr. Callum Compton, who died today due to the lodge fire. Mr. Callum Compton was born on Big Rogue Island and has remained here all his life. Mr. Compton is survived by his niece, Pixie. Okay. The memorial service will be held at the church on Sunday, the 23rd of June. Oh? Our fellow here, Scruff, had been talking about how the more he finds out about the crowns, he found out about what wolves they were. Let's take a look at our journal. That fire at the lodge, I don't think that was an accident. I don't either. Archie? Let's look at those tombstones. June. Oh, there it is. 18th of June, 1833. Callum Compton. Right. Bit any more? What's this?
A receipt for bottles.
That name Compton. You've seen it before.
In the graveyard.
Callum Compton.
Mr. Compton acknowledges the receipt of 12 bottles from Mr. Barlow on the 22nd of August, 1819. Whereupon the sale of said bottles, Mr. Compton will present Mr. Barlow with 10% of sale amount. Bottles, Oh, Mr. Barlow? Was Mr. Barlow the smuggler? Let's go back. Oh. Something. Ah, here we go. Who is Barlow? Why did Scruff keep this receipt? Did Josh know him? Josh equals Barlow. Josh Barlow? Let's go back, shall we? I don't know why that name sounded familiar to me, but it wasn't. That's an interesting thought, Josh Barlow. Barlow? Josh?
That's not Scruff's handwriting.
Where'd you get these notes? Is this about you?
Let's see. 12th January 1821. It appears I was right, and he has been smuggling contraband into the islands. What's more, it seems he has been doing this in the service of the crowns. Most islanders seem to know this for a fact, and yet do not seem to mind in the least. Even Constable Wilford turns a blind eye. In fact, I have been told I had better quit my inquiries if I want to keep my job as special constable, which puts me in an impossible situation. Oh, so our constable who died. Perhaps he was taken out, as it were. Interesting. So, we do know that someone was a smuggler. I think that was Thaddeus Cook that we saw last time. So someone's been smuggling, and the constable, the special constable, found out about it, didn't like it, and decided that he was going to investigate. Scruff was conducting his own investigation, and he had someone else's notes. Where did he get them? The constable did die, so maybe someone took out the constable.
Murder? Here on the islands?
Oh my god! Josh! Look! That's your name.
Oh, we must read this. The Rogues Gazette, a weekly publication, Monday, September 13th, 1819. The Black Bell Murder. Tragedy struck at the Black Bell Tavern late Tuesday night when George Smith was brutally stabbed by an unknown assailant. George, aged 32, was rumored to be involved in smuggling activities, and the Black Bell was often thought to be a smuggling hub. Witnesses deny such claims. George was just drinking too much and yelling at someone, and then there was a knife, said Josh. Oh, interesting. So Josh was there. So Josh is from 1819. Said Josh. Upon questioning, he added, I could not see with whom George was fighting. The bell was not very well lit. Callum, who had also been at the scene, Callum, added, the Black Bell may attract some unsavory folk, but most of us are upstanding members of our community. I'm sure this will not happen again, and I hope they find who did this soon. This proclamation was meant by agreement from all Black Bell patrons, who then raised a glass to George. Constable Sprouse says he has no current leads and the investigation will continue. So someone murdered George Smith by someone, no one knows who. It sounds like maybe George Smith was an unsavory character and maybe everyone in the tavern banded together to take him out, but there's Josh's name. Interesting. See, a lot of trouble went down at the Black Bell. Callum, who is he? What was he doing at the bell? Why was Josh there? Was he involved in the murder? Callum. We've heard Callum before. He's the one with the bottles. Seems like Callum was involved in some smuggling. And he was
These
killed.
are beautiful pictures, but why did he put them up here?
He must have found something there.
Ah, maybe a tree meant for smuggling? Yep, Callum Compton died in the Rogue Island fire. So, ooh, this is all coming together juicily. I love this. This is fantastic. Fascinating. Ooh, jars.
Kerry was feeding him.
Let's say they fed each other. He'd go fishing or hunting boar.
There are Carrie's jars.
He missed his girl so much.
Then why didn't he go home?
Why didn't he go home? I'm starting to wonder if maybe in the end that, the fever and the epidemics and so forth, I wonder if poor Scruff's family actually perished or passed away at one point, and that was why he couldn't go home to them. And he talks about they have lives now, loves. Maybe he was sort of just coping in such a way of saying that. Maybe I'm stretching here, or maybe in the end he just decided not to go home to them for some reason. I don't know why, but I have two theories. Scruff's girls. Right? Picture?
I know this picture.
Oh.
It was at that first cabin we found.
Carrie's, yes. That's her.
And that's Scruff.
Thick as thieves, those two.
It is these moments of joy that make life extraordinary. Love, Carrie. Maybe Scruff and Carrie ended up becoming an item and that's why he didn't leave? Oh, there it is! Did Scruff love Carrie, and is that why he ended up not returning?
No label, no nothing. Was he making his own liquor?
No, they look older. At least 19th century?
Perhaps older smuggled liquor, and people were digging for it as one would dig for buried
I
treasure?
really don't get why he buried his letters in these. His daughters probably thought he was dead.
And he liked it better like that.
For whatever reason. You always have a choice. He chose not to go back to his daughters. He chose Josh instead. Why did he choose Josh? Why didn't he go? I'm so curious.
He never finished this one. Must have died suddenly.
From a broken heart. Literally. His heart failed. Still, he refused to leave me.
I'm sorry.
So he died of heart failure and he refused to leave Josh, but why? My dearest Alice, Emily, and Jane, I saw a young porpoise today. He leaped through the waves with such joy, such freedom, and I thought of you, my daughters, and I remembered the days before I left. I remembered the joy of your tiny fingers wrapped around my own. I remembered your wild curls flying as I chased you. I remembered your squeals of laughter, such laughter. Of course, you are now grown women. Maybe you even have children of your own. But for me, you remain those small girls with that same wild spirit, like that young porpoise dancing in the water. I saw the porpoise when I was out on the boat with my friend Josh. I've spoken of him in my other letters. We were sailing to the isle known as the Dark Rogue. It is a beautiful and rugged place. I wish you could see it. Josh tells me it was a deadly place back in his days, but they couldn't keep him away. Interesting. Curiouser and curiouser. I think that is it for in here.
Everything in there. It's as if he was conducting his own investigation.
You mean I've been through this before?
I think Scruff was looking for you in the history of these islands, yeah.
Why am I still here then?
Maybe he died before he could finish it? Callum Compton. That murder at the Black Bell. He was there. And so were you.
You think I was involved?
I didn't say that.
I didn't kill anyone, Rylie.
You can't actually know that, Josh. You keep saying you don't remember your life. Maybe you've forgotten for a reason.
I don't want to talk about this anymore.
All right. So, Scruff lived here mid-20th century. And he investigated your death.
My death. I don't like it when you say it out loud like that.
I know this isn't an easy topic for you. We have to think about what that means.
It means that not everything I remember happened when I was alive.
And that there may have been others that you could talk with.
We should find them.
I didn't mean to make him angry, but it's not an unreasonable suggestion. Oh, Scruff and Carrie, I do think they probably fell in love, and that probably maybe one of the reasons that Scruff ended up not going back to the mainland. So let's see if we can continue on.
Josh? I have a little confession to make. I'm actually glad I met you.
Oh, all right. I think you just made me blush.
Oh. I mean, what more of an adventure could you ask for? Meeting a ghost that is with you and you can talk to whenever so you don't feel alone. A beautiful island with mysteries to unravel, and that is certainly probably the adventure.
We've met in person.
You want to see my pretty face?
Well, I admit, I wouldn't mind knowing what you look like.
If you can set me free, who knows? Maybe I'll crystallize into a prince.
Do you come on a white horse?
If we can figure out why I'm stuck here, maybe we can make that happen.
I'm not falling for that, just so you know.
Looks like an older map carved into the water. Into the water. Oh, into the rock.
Is that hair?
Yes, to remember the deceased.
Nana, 1782-1833. 1833, we know that's when the lodge fire happened. I wonder if that's connected.
So you'll always know where to find me.
Who's it from?
It doesn't say.
You'll always know where to find me. Pixie dust. Oh, that must have been a fond... Either to Pixie. Pixie dust must have been a nickname for her. That's rather sweet.
Is she crying?
She looks sore, all right.
Maybe she's angry.
Maybe Pixie, her mother and father. Right? A mother, a father, a crying child, not your usual happy family portrait. Linden Breeze. uncles know where to find me, where to go next. That's one of the hardest things to decide, and sometimes you need direction to find your way. Pixie dust. Do people truly believe in fairy tales? I wanted to check one more thing here. Map.
Whose journal is this?
Nora.
That's
Nora?
Pixie's mother.
Yeah, the woman from the picnic.
And from the eulogy in the priest's notebook. Remember?
June 25th, 1833. How does one begin? We buried Mother and Callum today. A heavy day with more loss than one can hold, and yet the sun continues to shine. Despite being the month of June, I thought of Coleridge's words. Come, come, thou bleak December wind, and blow the dry leaves from the tree. That refrain repeated itself to the rhythm of my beating heart as we lay Cordelia crowned to rest. She and I had our differences and our woes, but her love and devotion to Pixie were not to be denied. I held the girl close as she wept. So much loss in one so small, but we survive. It's all we know how to do. Of course, the question of why Callum and my mother were together at the lodge remains. What business did they share? One may never know the truth, but certainly one can ruminate. Mysteries keep the dead from being dead. They remain alive as we desperately try to know their secrets. But I hear Pixie, and I must go comfort my sweet girl, Nora. So Cordelia Crown also died June 18th, 1833. So she and Callum both died in the fire. Rogue's Gazette, Sunday, June 23, 1833. Tragic lodge fire, 2 dead. Tuesday's quiet summer night was interrupted by a tragic fire at the lodge. The bells rang as the large manor went up in flames. The rogue island lost 2 of its beloved citizens, Mrs. Cordelia Crown and Mr. Callum Compton. Constable Sprouse says foul play may be at work, but further investigation is necessary. Mrs. Cordelia Crown and Mr. Callum Compton appear to have been together in the upper drawing-room when the fire erupted. Constable Sprouse refused to say if Mr. Callum Compton's long-suspected dealing with the smugglers' gang was related to his investigation. Firefighters battled the flames until the wee hours of the morning. The majestic lodge will no longer brighten our shores, as its upper floors were heavily damaged, and Mrs. Cordelia Crown, a true benefactress for the Rogue Islands, will be greatly missed by all its citizens. Very curious. Callum and Cordelia, what was up with those two? The possibilities drive me mad, or the lack thereof. Find out about their deaths. Yes, actually, I'm so curious. I want to know what happened. What happened here? Right?
She was married.
Always. My love.
That sounds nice. I'd like that.
Oh,
Always.
oh, that's so sweet. Always my love. 1510 1819. Oh, this is going to turn out terribly because they're inferring maybe some romantic attraction between Josh and Rylie. I'm calling it now that perhaps Josh was actually Nora's husband, and Josh maybe perchance went off to the war and never returned, or that Nora's husband was one of those brave boys who went off to fight and never returned. But something in my gut is telling me maybe Josh was actually Nora's husband, but I'm not sure. That might be stretch a little bit. Always. It seems kind of a long time. Will someone ever love me? For always? I can't imagine. Oh, poor Rylie. You'll find someone, Rylie. Don't worry. Book.
Coleridge. His words get me every time.
I wandered lonely as a cloud.
That floats on high o'er vales and hills. That's Wordsworth.
I like him better.
The Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner in 7 parts. It is an ancient mariner, and he stoppeth one of 3. By thy long grey beard and glittering eye, now wherefore stoppest thou me? The bridegroom's doors are opened wide, and I am next of kin. The guests are met, the feast is set, mayst hear the merry din. He holds him with his skinny hand. There was a ship, quoth he. Hold off, unhand me, grey-beard loon, eftsoons his hand dropped he. Right, I think that's all there is to see in here.
I remember Nora on that beach, with her daughter, Pixie.
It was their home.
What are you thinking?
It's so weird that you're in my head, but you can't know what I'm thinking.
You should be glad. So, what's on your mind?
Did you read the journal?
You know I did.
That little girl, Pixie, she must have been heartbroken.
I know. Losing both your grandmother and your uncle at once. But Nora, she didn't sound so grieved, right?
Which is something I don't understand myself. Was there that much bad blood between them?
Something must have happened.
Curious,
Hang on.
sir? Oh.
Nora Crown. She's Pixie's mother. And Cordelia Crown is Nora's mother.
So Pixie,
She's the granddaughter of Cordelia Crown.
the girl's a crown.
I felt like we established that far before, but... Honestly, though, I could live here, living on a beach like this. In fair weather, hopefully. That would get flooded rather quickly, but... Oh, lovely. Oh. The Three Sisters. Why three sisters? What's happening?
I love you, Tig. You know that. You and me, we're both fighters. So you're gonna have to be strong without me. You're gonna have to keep watch. Make sure no one enters this beach without me knowing about it, okay? Might be Daddy. And I might not be here. And I can't miss him. I can't not talk to him, or he might leave again. But if I tell him I love him, if I tell him I'm sorry, then he'll stay. I know he will. Okay, Tig? I'll be back before nightfall, so you're not alone. I know you're scared of the dark.
Oh, goodness. What? That was Pixie with her little tiger. But why did she leave him behind?
Is this a backpack?
Shoulder bag, used specifically when hiking.
Looks like she did a lot of that. I used to draw maps like these, of imaginary worlds with fairies and mermaids.
Why did you stop?
I had to grow up.
Horse, sheep, lighthouse, my cave, Nava, Black Bell. Interesting that she wrote the Black Bell there. She seems so determined, ready to go down the rabbit hole. I wonder, have these islands changed much? Have these islands changed much since she drew this map? She didn't map out the Dark Rogue. Yes, what is the Dark Rogue, that island? I'm very curious about that. Necklace?
Oh, I love this. I wish I had a necklace like that.
Maybe someday, when you're all grown up.
Thank you, Josh. Walk me to the sea, I want more. The tingle of the ridges pressing in my fingertips takes me back to another time, back to her. Mom? I think that's her father, though, out there.
Oh, this is interesting.
She really did picture herself as a true detective.
Alright, now we're in 1831, so 2 years before the fire. 14 September 1831. Went to Little Rogue again today. How I love walking along the shore. I found 3 perfect shells, but this time I was there on business. Interview with Mr. Cogswell. I wanted to talk to Mr. Cogswell alone, so he came to meet me at Little Rogue near Land's End where no one could see us. He promises not to tell Mother I came unsupervised. Notes taken during my conversation. According to Mr. Cogswell, my father loved the islands and my mother, but I am unsure if he was saying this just to make me feel better. 2. He says he does not know why my father left, but he hints that maybe my father was involved in something he shouldn't have been. He refused to say more. I will need to investigate further. Maybe a trip to Dark Rogue? There are stories of old pirates and smuggler gangs. He also says my uncle knew my father far better than anyone. I don't understand why Uncle Callum won't talk about my father. Is he sad? Or does he know more than he likes to say? I can't read today. Tomorrow I am off to Dark Rogue. I don't care what Uncle Callum says. If the Dark Rogue is no place for a lady, he should not have given me the pixie dust. I am a detective, and there has to be a clue there, so I must go. I only need to be sure nobody sees me set sail, or they'll tell Mom or Nana. Oh, dear, I do hope nothing happened to Pixie. Starting to wonder if maybe something did. Oh, is that Josh? Missing Josh, or her father, rather. And is her father Josh? I'm really starting to wonder. Such bravery. I understand the beckoning of the marshes and the beaches, but what was she hoping to find? Surely not her father. Such foolishness.
What was she looking for?
I need a pair of these. I always feel like there's something I need to see. Something far in the distance just out of reach. What was that girl searching for? Or looking for, rather?
Josh, it's Tig.
She loved that stuffed animal so much.
I had a soft dog like that. I would hug it every night, needing its little head on my chest to fall asleep. I still have it on my boat.
Poor Tig, left abandoned. I love you, Tig. Nothing will bring her down. Well, we've discovered the sort of grotto. Oh, there are shoes here.
Why did she keep these here? Why not back at the house?
My bet is she didn't want Nora to know.
My heart aches whenever I think of those well-worn boots. Such freedom. To go where you want, to decide for yourself. I can hear the rushing of my blood just thinking about that.
She reminds me of you.
She's nothing like me.
Why would you say that, Rylie? We didn't even get a chance to respond. Oh, I hope we didn't choose the bad option accidentally. I didn't mean to say mean things to you, Josh, I promise. It was all a mistake.
1st of July 1941. My sweet Elfins. Today I found a letter from a young girl called Pixie, whose father left the islands many years ago. She is filled with longing and searches for him continuously. How her story broke my heart. Have I caused you, my daughters, such immense sorrow? Am I the cause for tears? I too sailed away and left you behind. Know that leaving you was the hardest thing I've ever done. Know that my love for you is the one thing that keeps me strong. There's nothing I can say to make it right. I just hope you forgive me. And in truth, I hope you've forgotten me, so that I do not bring you such sorrow. Your loving father.
I don't believe this guy.
He's a man with regrets.
Unable to fix his mistakes. You like him?
I get him.
I just don't understand why she kept looking for her dad.
Because she believed in him. Isn't there anything you ever believed in? With your whole heart?
I believed in Santa Claus, and he never came after my mom died. Oh my god, it's her!
Uh-oh.
Why are you here?
Well, hello to you too.
I saw you leaping about on the beach. Why?
You've been watching me. How's that working out for you?
You don't carry any sleeping bags or bedrolls. You're not prepared for this. What are you plotting?
I see. You expect answers. Let me ask you a question instead. Who are you?
Why, Beatrice Parker.
Oh.
From the school?
Head mistress.
Look, I don't know the right or wrong of this, but I need to figure out how I can help this ghost that's stuck here. And maybe, just maybe, you can help me. Or a ghost yourself, also stuck.
I don't see a ghost.
He's not here.
Are you denying the words you just said?
A true headmistress.
He's in my head.
So you're imagining him.
Okay, stop. Can you help me help him? I think I need to find Nora Crown.
She's dead, honey.
No.
I know that. It's about the Crown family. I want to know about them.
But if it's their home you're looking for, you should try the lodge on Little Rogue.
Thank you.
One word of advice. Don't trust that ghost of yours. I used to know everybody here, and I've never heard of him. Goodbye.
Oh. Well, that was interesting. Josh, any comment? On Earth? Oh, and we've come full circle. This is where we were. All right. Well, we now know that that was Beatrice Parker. And it looks like we might be on an adventure to another island, which will be rather interesting. And she said, don't trust that ghost of yours.
Well, at least this time she said goodbye.
She's not making much sense, is she?
Yeah, like, why shouldn't I trust you? I didn't even tell her your name. She can't know you.
She must really not like me.
No, she didn't. Well then, I don't like her either.
Thank you.
I'm serious. She wasn't a very friendly ghost. She kind of scared me.
Really? You don't seem like the type.
What type am I then?
The type that doesn't take any unsolicited advice.
And you better keep that in mind. Now, let's go see about this lodge.
Yes, let's, shall we? What a well-designed story. The map was linear and led you where you needed to go, but it didn't feel as if we were necessarily being shepherded. It just all naturally flowed together. How fascinating. I guess now we get to go back to the boat. After investigating here, of course, because I think this is where we weren't able to go last time. And it looks like we may not be able to go in here anyway. Oh, yes we can. Oh, is this the constable's office? Oh, I'm very curious what's going on in here. Let's see.
Callum Compton.
That's Pixie's uncle. What the hell?
He was a crook?
I mean, I'm not quite surprised. I rather thought he was a crook. Smuggler, perhaps. Oh, yes, okay. He was a smuggler. And a bootlegger. See, illegal distillation of high-proof spirits in 1817 by Dylan Sprouse, the constable who died. Yesterday I apprehended Mr. Compton for illegal distillation of high-proof spirits. However, before this arrest, Mr. Compton's distilling apparatus caught fire, and the small shack used for said illicit activity was burned to ashes. Penalty, Mr. Compton was tried but let off with merely a warning on the grounds that there was no liquor and evidence to support the seriousness of the charge. See, illegal poaching attempt. 1814. Description: the accused was found guilty of illegal poaching attempts on the premises of the Griffiths family. Penalty: on Mrs. Griffiths' request, Mr. Compton was released without charges on his promise to cease any future poaching attempts in the area. Mrs. Griffiths was willing to show mercy in honor of Mr. Compton's mother and her friend, who died while out poaching for her sons. Okay. Stealing of tobacco. Oh, he was quite the busy man, wasn't he? Oh, here we go. Bar fight in the Black Bell in 1813. Victim Henry Clinch Jr. Witnesses Henry Clinch Sr. and Thaddeus Cook. The accused was found guilty of picking a fight with the victim over a game of dice. During the game, Mr. Compton accused Mr. Clinch Jr. of cheating. However, no evidence was found that Mr. Clinch Jr. had indulged in any cheating, as his father, Mr. Henry Clinch Sr., stood witness to the entire game. According to said father, it was Mr. Compton himself who cheated once Mr. Compton knew there was no way for him to win the game. Mr. Clinch's senior testimony was backed by Mr. Thaddeus Cook, the owner of the Black Bell. Mr. Compton was sentenced to 2 weeks of gardening in service of the Clinch family. Interesting. So it seems that Callum Compton was quite the firecracker, fighting a huge brawl. Up to today in the docks, let's see. Deliberately sabotaging the Nimrod? A feral savage. Goodness. Yes, what a stalwart man, then. So this is starting to make me wonder. Something was set fire before. Did he set fire to the lodge to cover his illicit activities? I'm very curious. Callum Compton, a good heart turned cold as ice. He's been very familiar with the constables for quite a while. Bottles.
More of these bottles.
Contraband. We were all distilling it.
Liquor?
Whiskey.
We were all distilling it, so a bit telling. Oh. It's Archie.
Archibald O'Sullivan, yeah. I didn't know he had a record.
He was a criminal.
I wouldn't say that.
Let's see. Public intoxication. So public intoxication, and someone was reporting it out of concern, not necessarily wanting to happen. Say public intoxication at the Black Bell in 1821. Let's see, thrown out of the Black Bell indefinitely for harassing clients. Oh. See, today, January 29th, 1826, I received the body of the deceased Mr. Archibald O'Sullivan, aka Archie, into my presence. The deceased was 58 years of age. Cause of death was determined as death by intoxication. Oh, that's sad. The deceased was found drifting near his boat in Stillwater Cove. No signs of a struggle. Oh, that's sad. Let's see. Fire on Little Rogue. Oh, 19th of June, 1833. A fire consumed the lodge, the Crown's family estate located on Little Rogue. 2 persons perished in the fire, Mrs. Cordelia Crown and Mr. Callum Compton. Both bodies were found in the upper drawing room. It is unclear what business Mr. Compton had upon the premises. A search revealed no valid source for the fire, indicating the possibility of arson. Supporting this claim is the fact that the upper drawing room door was blocked from the outside. Further investigation is needed. Currently, the only suspect is Mr. Cook, and as he and Mr. Compton have a long history of violent disputes, so did Mr. Cook purposefully lock them in and set fire to the lodge? Who set the lodge on fire? The answer was never at the bottom of a bottle, Archie. I've known people like you. Alcohol is your true demon. What was so bad, so horrible that you couldn't make it go away? Oh, I wonder if he had Josh in his head. Let's see, open drawer, doodle-doo, here.
Josh, look. Pages have been torn out.
Scruff.
Yeah. This is where he got those notes from.
From Constable Sprouse.
Interesting. So this is 1818. Dylan Sprouse. Miss Constable Wilford has shown no interest in opening an investigation into smuggling activities, but I've taken upon myself to do so. My suspicions began when I saw the same bottle types appear. These bottles are from no shop located upon the Rogues. The contents of said bottles were always the same high-alcohol liquor supposedly imported legally from the mainland, but I have failed to find any proof thereof. My first intent is to find the location of import into these islands. Not many valid options exist due to the many underwater rock formations prohibiting the approach of vessels. The docks are one possibility, though it would be too easy to spot the contraband. Another option could be the peninsula off the Dark Rogue, though the entirety of that peninsula is surrounded by razor-sharp rocks sticking out of the bay, making any approach by large vessels suicide. Oh, I worry about Pixie and what she said about going there. There is also a small passageway leading deeper into the island, but it is far too cramped to allow access to a smuggling vessel. 29th October 1818, time finally allowed me a visit to Dark Rogue. I conversed with Thaddeus Cook, owner of the Dark Rogue's only tavern, the Black Bell. Although Mr. Cook denied any involvement in any such activities, I couldn't help but notice something off in his demeanor. For a man being interrogated by the law, he struck me as overconfident, even cocky. Interesting. He didn't budge. Sprouse felt he had to conduct his investigation in secret. Was there someone powerful enough to stop them? He was the police, after all. Who am I kidding? Sprouse wasn't a necessity. Someone else was. Right, let's go over here. Make sure we don't miss anything. Don't see anything in there.
Is it me, or did the sea level drop?
It's low tide, yes.
If only I could talk to that constable.
I wish we could, honey.
Oh!
Right?
He called us honey! I don't know why that just made me giggle. Oh goodness, pardon me. Honey. Oh. Anyway. Onward back to our boat. Uh-oh. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh.
Thank you. Josh, is it?
Yes, Miss Crine.
You grew up here, on the islands.
Oh, yes, Miss Crine. We've been here for generations.
That sounds lovely. I think the islands are the most beautiful place I've ever seen.
Me too. Of course, I've seen nowhere else. But in truth, I've never wanted to.
Oh, there is a blessing in this gentle breeze that blows from the green fields and from the clouds.
You have a way with words, Miss Crine.
Oh, Wordsworth definitely does. He goes on, and from the sky, it beats against my
Better
cheek.
be careful, Miss Crine. These waves have a mind of their own.
Yes. I feel Wordsworth today. It's as if the sky itself is aware of how happy this place makes me. I can see why you remain here, Josh.
That was me.
That was you. I've never seen you. Not like that.
And that was Nora. She escaped my memory. Completely.
And I think you took her to Little Rogue.
Let's go find this lodge. On Little Rogue.
Yes, let's. I'm very much starting to wonder, because he said he liked Wordsworth better, and then Nora mentioned Wordsworth, so I'm starting to wonder if Josh is actually with Nora. Oh, this is all coming together deliciously. So with that, I'm going to go, and we're done for our round today, but what a fascinating... So now we get to move on to a different island. I would imagine we're going now to Little Rogue. This story is simply fascinating. I'm absolutely enjoying this game. There's so much intrigue and twists and turns, and I'm so excited to see where it will take us. So stay tuned for the next video as we shall continue investigating what is going on with the Rogue Islands and who, in the end, is Josh truly. So thank you for joining me. I hope you're enjoying this game as much as I am, and I hope I shall see you in the next video. Have a wonderful rest of your week, everyone. Pax vobiscum. Goodbye.